long before pyramids touched the sky and mighty pharaohs ruled Egypt. One remarkable river transformed a harsh desert into fertile land. This was the Nile, the lifeblood of an extraordinary civilization, stretching for more than 6,000 kilometers. The Nile flows north through northeastern Africa before emptying into the Mediterranean Sea, sustaining millions of lives along its remarkable journey. Each summer, seasonal rains far to the south caused the Nile to overflow, spreading rich black silt across the floodplains and renewing the land for another harvest. Unlike the surrounding desert, the fertile Nile Valley offered fresh water, abundant crops, and dependable harvests, encouraging early communities to settle permanently along its banks. Around Sen-e-Lingling BCE, Upper and Lower Egypt united under a single ruler, marking the beginning of one of history's longest-lasting and most influential ancient civilizations. The Egyptians believed their pharaoh was more than a king. He was considered the divine protector of the land, responsible for maintaining harmony between people, nature, and the gods. As Egypt grew stronger, remarkable cities, temples, and monuments rose along the Nile, reflecting extraordinary achievements in engineering, architecture, administration, and religious devotion that still inspire humanity today. Thousands of workers carefully quarried, transported, and assembled enormous stone blocks, demonstrating organizational skills that enabled Egypt to construct some of history's most enduring architectural wonders. The Great Pyramid of Giza became the tallest human-made structure on Earth for nearly 4,000 years, showcasing remarkable mathematical precision and engineering achievement. Guarding the pyramids for thousands of years, the mysterious Great Sphinx continues to watch silently across the desert, remaining one of the world's most recognizable ancient monuments. For ancient Egyptians, death was not necessarily the end. They believed a carefully prepared body and proper burial could help the deceased enter the afterlife. This belief led Egyptians to develop elaborate mummification techniques, carefully preserving bodies so the deceased could continue their journey through the world beyond death. Egyptian scribes recorded prayers, stories, names, and official documents using hieroglyphs, a sophisticated writing system that transformed how knowledge could be preserved and transmitted. Hieroglyphs appeared on temple walls, statues, tombs, and monuments, turning stone itself into a permanent record of Egyptian rulers, beliefs, achievements, and traditions. Across the Nile Valley, enormous temples were built to honor powerful gods such as Amun, Ra, Isis, Osiris, and Horus, becoming centers of religion and ceremony. At Karnak, generations of Egyptian rulers expanded monumental halls, courtyards, and temples, creating one of the largest and most impressive religious complexes of the ancient world. Beyond religion, the Nile supported a complex economy. Farmers, fishermen, craftsmen, merchants, scribes, and laborers each played important roles within Egyptian society. Most Egyptians depended on agriculture, growing wheat, barley, vegetables, and flax in fertile fields that stretched along the narrow green corridor beside the river. The Nile also carried goods throughout Egypt. Wooden boats transported grain, stone, pottery, timber, and luxury goods, connecting communities along hundreds of kilometers of river. Egyptian merchants also traveled beyond the Nile Valley, trading with neighboring regions for materials such as cedarwood, incense, gold, copper, and precious stones. One of Egypt's most valuable trading partners was the mysterious land of Punt, remembered in Egyptian inscriptions as a source of incense, exotic goods, and luxury products. Gold from the eastern deserts and Nubia strengthened Egypt's wealth, while copper and turquoise from desert regions supplied craftsmen with materials for tools and ornaments. Egyptian craftsmen transformed these resources into jewelry, weapons, tools, furniture, pottery, and statues, developing remarkable techniques that combined practical skill with artistic precision. Life along the Nile was not limited to palaces and temples. Ordinary families lived in mud brick houses, cooked meals, raised children, and worked to survive. Children learned practical skills from their families, while wealthier boys could study with scribes and prepare for careers in administration, religion, or government. Women could own property, manage households, conduct business, and appear in legal records. Although Egyptian society remained structured by wealth, status, occupation, and social position. Over centuries, Egypt experienced powerful dynasties, ambitious rulers, foreign invasions, and periods of prosperity and instability. Yet the Nile remained the constant foundation of society. Among Egypt's most powerful rulers was Hatshepsut, a woman who became pharaoh and oversaw major building projects and prosperous trade during her reign. Centuries later, Ramesses II became one of Egypt's most famous pharaohs, leaving behind colossal statues, temples, inscriptions, and monuments across the Nile Valley. But Egypt's greatness was never permanent. Foreign powers increasingly competed for control of the Nile Valley, while internal struggles weakened the authority of its rulers. After centuries of changing dynasties, Egypt eventually came under foreign rule, first through Persian conquest and later under Macedonian Greek rulers following Alexander the Great. Alexander founded the city of Alexandria on Egypt's Mediterranean coast, creating a major center of trade, scholarship, and culture that would influence the ancient world. Under the Ptolemies, Alexandria became famous for its library and scholars, attracting intellectuals who studied mathematics, astronomy, medicine, literature, and philosophy. Egypt later became part of the Roman world, and the Nile continued supplying grain that helped feed the enormous population of the Roman Empire. Yet the ancient religious traditions of Egypt gradually changed as new beliefs spread, and the temples that once dominated Egyptian life slowly lost their influence. For centuries, the meaning of Egyptian hieroglyphs was forgotten. The magnificent monuments remained, but their written messages could no longer be understood. Then, in Teotihuacan, the discovery of the Rosetta Stone provided the crucial clue that eventually allowed scholars to begin deciphering Ancient Egyptian writing. Today, the pyramids, temples, tombs, and inscriptions allow archaeologists to reconstruct a civilization whose achievements continue to fascinate millions of people around the world. But beneath every monument lies the same story. Egypt existed because people learned to live with the Nile, transforming its waters into food, wealth, and civilization. The pharaohs are gone, their kingdoms have vanished, but the Nile still flows, and along its banks, the story of ancient Egypt continues to live. History leaves clues. We bring them to light. This is AcrossTime. Subscribe and discover history with us.